Coming up on the February 21st edition of Carolina Week, one local politician has Carolina on his mind. Find out how students are reacting to John Edwards' return to UNC.
And after UNC Wilmington Jr. lied about his criminal past, is Carolina cracking down on background checks for admissions?
And coming up in sports, if you missed Sunday night's women's basketball game, shame on you. We have all the highlights from a classic in the Dean Dome.
Plus your 4-day forecast.
All that and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening and welcome to this edition of Carolina Week. I'm Courtney Robinson.
And I'm Nora Warren. Our top story tonight, John Edwards has teamed up with the university to launch a new anti-poverty initiative. He says we have a moral responsibility to care for others. Sean Maroney is in the newsroom with the details. Sean?
Nora, most political observers believe Edwards is eyeing another run for the White House in 2008. He says votes are the last thing on his mind, but others aren't so sure.
This is not a political campaign. This is not about elections. This is about a cause to change this country.
This week begins Edwards' work to bring about that change, moving more Americans out of poverty and into the middle class. Edwards plans to accomplish this by launching UNC's Center on Poverty, Work, and Opportunity.
We have a moral responsibility to help those around us who are struggling.
The center will bring together UNC faculty and other national public policy experts to examine this problem and research solutions. But according to Edwards, these experts can't do it alone.
I think the students here can make an enormous difference in the lives of lots of people if they'll engage with us in this cause.
And some students are willing to jump on board.
I think that his goals seem very reasonable and very noble as well in terms of alleviating poverty and also just being true to the people of North Carolina.
But others question Edwards' motives.
I see it all as a political scheme that he's hiding under nonpartisan efforts.
Austin says he believes Edwards is reaching out to lower-income people in preparation for a possible bid in the 2008 presidential election. However, Edwards says the depth of this issue transcends any petty party differences.
There's nothing partisan about poverty. It's something that not just Democrats, but Republicans and independents, all people care about, and we want them all involved.
Edwards says he'll give public lectures and appear in the classroom, but the specifics of how he plans to spread the center's message are still in the works. Nora?
Sean, we've heard the students' reactions. How are members of the faculty responding?
Well, we spoke to Gene Nickel, the dean of UNC's law school where the center will be based, and he says he's glad Edwards is here. He says the center will be a great opportunity for the university and students to get involved in an important cause.
Sean Maroney reporting from the newsroom. Thanks, Sean.
Legislators are gathering in Raleigh Monday night to hear the governor's plan for the coming year. Governor Mike Easley will give his first State of the State address of his second term following his inauguration last month. He will speak to a joint session of the General Assembly at the House of Representatives chamber. He's expected to discuss his plan for the coming year, the budget, and tax reform. The speech will be broadcast live at 7 p.m. by UNC TV.
One man who'll be watching the state address at home instead of by Easley's side is Raleigh attorney Ed Turlington. North Carolina Democrats passed over the governor's top pick for state party chairman. Instead, Fayetteville lawyer Jerry Meek will fill the position. Some say Meek's selection reflects discord among the county precinct leaders, as well as a generational shift within the party. Former Governor Jim Hunt joined Easley in supporting Turlington for the position. Have you ever wondered how the university gets so much money for research? Well, a lot of that money comes from grants, federal funds, private donations, or patents. UNC Chapel Hill is third among research universities in North Carolina with income generated from patented inventions. In 2004, the university brought in nearly $4 million from licensing. It's required to commercialize the product and share the profit with inventors. UNC's share is put back into the system for research and development. Patented inventions from the university might also result in startup companies such as Inspire Pharmaceuticals. Inspire has discovered and developed drugs that could potentially treat dry eye, retinal disease, and cystic fibrosis. In the coming weeks, look for more from Carolina Week about patented inventions, their startup companies, and about how they impact lives instead of pockets.
Lying on your admissions application could get you kicked out of school, especially if you lie about a criminal past. The state university system is looking more closely into students' backgrounds to keep the rest of us safe. The recent ban of a UNC Wilmington junior is reigniting talks about criminal background checks in the UNC system.
Yeah, it's a little scary. If it's happening there, it's probably happening here too, so I guess it's a little scary. Yeah.
A safety task force charged with looking into admissions guidelines convened after 2 UNCW female students were killed by male students last spring.
What happened at Wilmington, both those events, of course, they were horrible and terrible and almost beyond imagining. And the grief on that campus, I think, was very real, and it persists. It's still there.
Steve Farmer, Carolina's director of admissions, chaired the task force and says 100% background checks of all applicants isn't realistic.
It just seemed not to be a wise use of the university's resources, and it didn't seem in the end to be a particularly promising way of promoting safety.
But while what happened at UNCW is unsettling to students here at UNC, most still feel safe. But Farmer says students should still be aware.
It's really important for students to take charge of the situation themselves, not to do things that are dangerous, not to put themselves in situations where something bad might happen.
The task force has been disbanded, but administrators are making efforts to implement some of those guidelines. Now, some of these guidelines include more scrutiny for students who do present red flags. Farmer also told me that out of the 150,000 students in the entire university system, 220 of those committed crimes. Out of those, very few had previous histories, and even fewer had lied on their applications. He says 99.9% of the time, students are honest about their criminal past.
You might think you're safe going out to the ATM, but Raleigh police are on the lookout for a masked man who's terrorizing the Triangle. In the picture you're seeing here, this man wearing a skeleton mask has been robbing Raleigh ATM goers. Police say the man waits until victims enter their code, then approaches them with a gun and forces them to withdraw money. So far, the masked man has made 4 hits. Raleigh police are coordinating with surrounding police departments to warn them about the robber. Now, heritage, it's important to most of us.
And a local gathering has lots of people from across North Carolina stomping to the sounds of a different drum in celebration of their Native American heritage.
Women's Center, may I help you?
The Women's Center is a nonprofit agency that has served as a meeting place for women in the Triangle since 1979, making it one of the oldest freestanding women's centers in the country. The mission of the Women's Center is to provide a supportive community where all women can inspire each other to grow, both personally and professionally.
I was going through a crisis at home, and I contacted Helpline, and they referred me directly to the Women's Center.
I think the Women's Center is really important for the community because it offers so many different kinds of resources, and if we don't have the resource here, we can find an avenue or a way for women to find the answers that they need.
It is inspiring. It's so exciting to be a part of something that really matters and really changes things.
You can support the Women's Center through membership or by sending a contribution to the Women's Center, 210 Henderson Street, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27514.
The Rams Head Center is in its final phase of construction, and it's set to be open soon. The $70 million project began in October of 2002. When complete, the Rams Head Center will feature a 700-space parking deck, campus recreation center, grocery store, sports cafe, and student dining facility. The multi-purpose building also has a landscaped rooftop plaza. A level walkway will connect Morrison Residence Hall and the Alumni Center. UNC is turning trash into treasure and as it expands its recycling programs. Recycling bins such as these are common sights on campus. They're now at athletic events such as this basketball game, helping UNC sports fans do their part for the environment. Construction projects at UNC haven't been left out. The old floors of Woolen Gym have been recycled into part of the new Rams Head Center on campus. Even the old slate roofing on Phillips Hall has found its way into the building's renovation plans. Efforts such as these have helped on-campus recycling rates jump to 40%. Waste reduction coordinator Jen Maxwell says these initiatives help raise environmental consciousness on campus.
students being offered these options on campus, and every year new things like new athletics recycling and reuse on campus with the woolen gym floor. And so I think that it's just a opportunity for them to become more aware.
For more information about recycling at UNC, log on to our website at carolinaweek.org.
North Carolina has a strong Native American heritage, and many people celebrated that heritage on Saturday. Students, adults, and children got a chance to showcase their dancing and singing skills at a powwow in Durham. Sponsored by the school's Native American club, Acquequan, the powwow emphasizes intertribal brotherhood and sisterhood in addition to education about Indian culture. Throughout the powwow, arts and crafts traders set up to sell everything from wood carvings and silverwork to bead and leather work. One man even managed to beat a little Carolina spirit into the festivities. More than 2,000 people showed up for the event. Only a few things can get most people out of bed early on weekends, and a tall stack of pancakes is on that short list. That's why Chapel Hill's Kiwanis Club sponsored a $5 pancake breakfast and a silent auction at the Old Chapel Hill Church on Saturday morning. Flapjack flipper Victor Wigman says the proceeds will fund 4 $1,000 scholarships and support the Terrific Kids program.
It's just a bunch of guys who have tried to get together and benefit the community in a certain way, and that way is children. Everybody generally likes children, but this way, you know, we actually get to sit down and talk to them. You know, what are they like? How are they affecting with? Things seem to be changing so fast. What are kids like?
The hot items at the silent auction included a basketball signed by Dean Smith, Bill Guthridge, and Roy Williams, and a poster signed by the Duke men's basketball team. Wigman expected the entire event to raise between $5,000 and $6,000. Now, Courtney, nothing makes a breakfast better than a good old cup of coffee.
And there certainly are a lot of coffee addicts out there at Carolina. We all depend on coffee for short-term energy boosts, but drinking a cup of Joe every day might actually have some long-term benefits too. A recent study shows those who drink coffee every day are 50% less likely to get liver cancer than non-coffee drinkers. A research team based in Tokyo analyzed a 10-year study of more than 90,000 people. The team's finding means good news for those coffee drinkers on campus.
I mean, I'd probably continue drinking anyways, because at this point I kind of needed to just get going. But, you know, if it improves my liver too, then I mean, that's just the better.
Researchers weren't able to compare the effect of regular and decaffeinated coffee because decaf is rarely consumed in Japan. Now, I think I must have had too much coffee today. Weathercaster Aaron Moore joins us now. Aaron?
It's been a really rainy President's Day. Is that going to continue on through the rest of the week?
Well, hopefully we won't have to keep our umbrellas out for the rest of the week, and I'll tell you when we come back. But students had to make it to class today, and the wet weather had them dodging puddles on campus today. But can you put your umbrella away for the rest of the week? We'll have your 4-day forecast coming up.
Thousands of kids in this country have everything it takes to go to college, except the money. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
I'm doing it right now.
I do it all over town.
I do it every day.
We do it in a group.
I did it after dinner.
And you don't have to go to the gym to live a healthier life. Add more fruits and vegetables to your diet. Park further away and walk. Walk your dog. Walk with friends. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. They are doing it. And you can too. Start doing it today.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm weathercaster Aaron Moore here with a check of your weather headlines. Well, folks, if you enjoyed the weather for the past 2 weeks, then you will be happy with what we will see this week because we are looking at a rerun of last week's weather. We're going to start out the week with our temperatures about 10 degrees above normal for this time of year, and then a cold front moves through for the end of the week and cools off our temperatures to the upper 40s and low 50s as we end our work week. So as we look at the satellite map, we can see here's all the moisture that we've been seeing for the last couple of days. This looks like it's going to move out over the next day or two, and back behind it, it's going to build in some high pressure. Now, if up in the northeast, they had a bunch of snow for the last 2 days, and hopefully that'll be clearing out for them as well. If we go over down here at California, they've been having a lot of problems with rain over the last week. They've been having major flooding, and hopefully they should be clearing out over the next few days as well. If we look at the surface map, we can see here, this is a cold front that's going to be pushing through our area around Tuesday and clearing out our skies and cooling off of our temperatures. This high pressure system is going to build in and clear out our skies for the weekend. If we look over here in California, here's that low pressure system, and it's just bringing the moisture in off of the Pacific and causing all of those problems for California's weather. So if we look at the 4-day forecast, we can see here that our temperature is going to be about 64 on Tuesday with mostly sunny skies with a low of 49 degrees. On Wednesday, our skies are going to be mostly cloudy. We're going to see temperatures starting to drop into the upper 50s. We're going to see 57 with a low of 36 on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're going to have a slight chance of showers with a high of 48. Because of the cloud cover, our temperatures are going to cool down, and we're going to see temperatures right about freezing on Thursday night. On Friday, we're going to see a high of about 51 with a low of 28 and mostly sunny skies. So if we look at this week last year in 2004, our average high was 52 degrees and our average low was 34 degrees. We had 0.7 of an inch of precipitation, which included 2 days of winter weather. So this week we look to be right about the 55-degree average mark.
Well, Erin, I've got some work I need to do outside tomorrow, and it's good to know that I can leave that umbrella at home.
Yes, you can.
Thanks so much.
I'm tired of the teas. I just really want it to be either spring or winter.
I know. We're right on that bubble right now, so we should see spring-like weather in the next coming weeks.
Awesome. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Well, Wes, I found myself last night deciding who to root for, if I was going to root for Wake or Duke. I couldn't bring myself to do either one, but I was a little happy that Duke won.
Yeah, as I told a lot of people before the game, I was like, I'm not going to pull for Duke, but Duke better win. And they did, which means Carolina is now first in the ACC in men's basketball. And coming up on Carolina Week Sports, though, Carolina's basketball teams are the only ones feeding off the competition. Tar Heel baseball is currently sailing high at 7th in the nation. But did a weekend series with the Seton Hall Pirates sink their ship? Find out.
I don't want her to be labeled.
He's just like I was in school.
It's just a phase. He'll get over it.
Millions of kids have learning difficulties and are struggling in school. But instead of excuses, they need help. They learn differently. See how far your child can go. Visit focusonlearning.org. Do it for your child. Do it for yourself. But do it now.
Can I help you, sir?
I found these over by the stairs.
Okay, thank you.
What are they?
Love handles. Lots of people lose them taking the stairs instead of the escalator.
Welcome back to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Wes Wilson, and while this still is my day job, I'm secretly training to become the next Harry Carey. Carolina beat UConn. I was there. Carolina beat Duke. I was there. Sunday night, the 8th-ranked Carolina women's basketball team took on 21st-ranked NC State. And let me tell you, that game was easily as good as the other two. The Pack jumped out to an early lead and held off Ivory Latta and the Heels for a 3-point lead at the break. Second half now, the seesaw battle grows intense. Carolina dug down deep in the trenches to take a lead, only to see State come back with daggers like this one from the outside. 16 seconds left, Heels down by 2. Metcalf for the tie? No, but Nikita Bell, with a huge putback, sends the game to overtime. Yeah, Nikita, that's right, I love you too. Latta shot only 20% from the field. Don't tell me this girl can't play. Her free throws in overtime put Carolina on top for good. And just moments later, Nikita Bell with a clutch steal as she seals the Tar Heel victory. Bell says defense is all about urgency and intensity.
We're just talking about sense of urgency and like just wanting the ball in every possession counts. And I don't know, it was the end of the game, and like I said, every possession counts, so you want to go in there and make sure you at least attempt to try to get the ball.
The Heels, who lead the nation in steals, stole the win away from State at the end of regulation as they win 75-72 in overtime. Now, for those of you scared of change, the Cubs still can't win a World Series, I know. Televised bowling is still boring, and Clemson still can't beat Carolina in Chapel Hill, at least not in basketball. Clemson's attempt to stop its 50-game losing streak in Chapel Hill quickly turned into the Tar Heel version of the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. Not even an upset stomach keeper Sean McCann from flashing a little dynasty after the silky smooth jam. Raymond Felton put on his man pants and proved point guards can dunk. Sean May does his best impersonation of Shaq, cleaning up the garbage inside. Not to be outdone, Jawad Williams decides one dunk is never enough, so why not throw it down 3 times? The Heels tamed the Tigers again 88-56 Saturday. Coach Roy Williams doesn't put much stock in the streak, however.
I think it's silly. I didn't realize that. I said I was 4 years old when it started because I thought that we played every year in 50 years. Heck, it was 1926. Even Woody wasn't born then.
While Clemson suffered only 1 loss, the UNC baseball team pummeled the Seton Hall Pirates 3 times this weekend. In the weekend opener Friday at Boschmer Stadium, early errors from the Pirates helped Carolina get their heels on base, and fans looked on as the Pirates coach tried to relax his pitcher, but Carolina treated him as little more than a batting practice hurler. The Tar Heel pitchers were absolutely phenomenal, however, and combined for a 2-hit shutout. There was no need to stick around for this one as Carolina sashayed to an easy 17-0 win. For those who came out to Saturday's game, history was in the air. The Tar Heel pitchers blanked the Pirates again, 5-zip. It was their 3rd straight shutout. That has never happened to start a season, and the last time it happened at all was back in 1922. You know, back when movies were without color and sound. The Heels' only goal on Sunday was clear: keep that streak alive. UNC stumbled early, unable to produce offensively against the Pirates. 2 Carolina errors in the 6th by Craig Corrado led to a pair of unearned runs for Seton Hall, its first score of the series. Justin Webb answered back in the bottom of the inning, launching a solo home run over the left field wall. Carolina began to score at will, and the solid pitching staff extended its streak to 36 innings. Then pitcher Matt Danford's only problem with the streak is keeping a straight face.
Well, it kind of has been a joke kind of off the field, but once we get out there, you know, we just try to make our pitches do the best we can, and hopefully that'll be good enough to get us through it.
Final score: Heels 5, Pirates 2. Carolina outscored Seton Hall by an embarrassing 27-2 margin in the series. To see how long the Tar Heel pitchers can keep the streak going, head out to the Bosch Tuesday at 3 when the Heels take on UNC Wilmington. And just like the baseball team, the gymnastics team has been embarrassing as competition on its way into the record books. But with that hold up against the likes of Rutgers and William & Mary, in a word, absolutely. Go ahead and brush your shoulders off because the Heels dominated every individual event. And by the Heels, I mean Olivia Trusty, whose high-flying moves here on the beam and floor got her high marks from the judges. The Tribe from William & Mary had a swinging chance early on, but just could not stick with the high-flying Tar Heels. Even the fans were electrified by Trusty's performance, who credited the Heels' domination to a hard week in practice.
It doesn't matter who we compete against, we're just trying to do better for ourselves and work on the things that we're having trouble with in the gym. And this week in the gym, we all worked so hard, and today was our best team performance of the year.
Trusty collected her highest all-around score of the season and helped the Heels improve their record to 13-0. That's their best start in school history as well. But the Tar Heel track team sure won't want this year's indoor ACC championship in the history books. The Heels trailed from the start despite a strong performance in the men's high jump, and they were unable to pull through with a first-place finish. Sprinter Tony Tucker says the team plans to use their not-so-strong finish as motivation for the upcoming outdoor season.
Our mentality is, we're proud of what we did. We're proud of how we competed out here today. But at the same time, we know that Monday is right back to work.
Here's a little irony for you. The Hills' next meet on Saturday is called the UNC Last Chance Meet. From ACC championships to another ACC championship, the ACC Women's Swimming and Diving Championships concluded Saturday night with the Tar Heels finishing third. Maryland took its first ever Team ACC title in the competition, and Virginia, which won the past 2 championships, finished second. Carolina junior Lizzie Bruce won the conference title in the 200-yard breaststroke, finishing 0.3 of a second off of her career best time in the event. When the ladies lacrosse team took on number 3 Northwestern in the first game of the season, the Hills were wishing they had one last chance to make a first impression. And in the first half of the Hills took control of the game when Kristen Horty saving shot after shot and the offense making not 1 but 2 goals. Just kidding, that's 5 goals as they led 5-2 at the break. In the second half, Northwestern came out strong, pressuring Carolina's defense. The Wildcats made 1 goal after another and showed no mercy on defense, stopping all attempts made by the Heels in the second frame. Wildcats came out on top 6-5. Carolina goalie Kristen Horty says the team might have been overconfident going into the second half.
Yeah, I think we got a little too comfortable with the fact that we were doing so well. And I think that we came out with the same intensity that we had in the first half, but I also feel like Northwestern came out with a little bit more intensity, which is why maybe we couldn't match it in the second.
The Heels hope to redeem themselves against Temple this Friday at 6 p.m. Well, guys, big game last night we were talking about earlier. There's also a big game tomorrow. That would be Tuesday night. NC State and Carolina will hook up in Raleigh.
I know. Well, red is not my favorite color, so.
Definitely. Well, we might not be able to go see that game, but I tell you what, the men's basketball team is getting ready for the red in Raleigh.
And we'll show you how some of those Hillsboro men fought back against the Redcoats when Carolina Week returns.
Medical research saves lives. It produces treatments and cures for killers like heart disease, AIDS, cancer. Don't let these killers get away with murder. Support medical research.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
The British are coming. The British are coming. If you thought the Tories were a thing of the past, think again. Reporter Lily West found a group of them in Hillsboro this weekend.
This isn't a sight you see in everyday Hillsboro, at least not in the 21st century. No, they're not real British or Loyalist soldiers, but you probably knew that. They're professional interpreters of history. The Alliance of Historic Hillsboro sponsored this reenactment during the weekend to help teach people about pre-revolutionary British occupation. Interpreter David Snyder portrays a captain in the 64th Regiment of Foot.
It was an English regiment that was here in the colonies from 1768 to 1782, a very long period of service. And though they didn't actually make it up here to Hillsboro, they were in South Carolina for the rest of the war.
When Snyder isn't in uniform, he's a research technician at Duke. He enjoys the transformation.
So I put on the coats, and next thing you know, I'm walking like an English officer and carrying myself like one, speaking his way.
The reenactment also illustrated a typical soldier's life in the late 18th century. Visitors got a glimpse of camp life, marching drills, and even witnessed some musket firings. When it was time to pack up, there was only one thing the soldiers had to say.
Well, God save the king.
In Hillsboro, I'm Lily West, Carolina Week.
The Alliance for Historic Hillsboro organizes many events during the year to help make residents more aware of local history. Well, Courtney, I tell you what, I had a friend that used to do that, and it was a lot of fun.
I know. I wish that I had been out there, so maybe we'll have to take a drive out to Hillsboro and check that out sometime.
We'll have to do that.
Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Have a great night.
Good night.